Wouldn't it be sweet if we had a stuck between two worlds cop movie about a guy who has to take on the Yakuza and he's torn between his love for the Asian culture he grew up in and his duty as a cop? And who better to star in said hypothetical film than an Asian American actor who also happens to be the son of the most beloved Asian man ever born? Yeah, so anyway, the film is about that, but with this big white Swedish blonde guy as the main character. So the film starts and Dolph Lundgren is sneaking about dressed like George Michael, and he swings down and is immediately accosted by these two little men. And then this guy goes to shoot Dolph, who's 4 feet away from him, he's 3 foot taller than anyone else there, and is on a raised platform with no cover. But yeah, he only manages to hit literally fucking everyone else in the room but Dolph. Like, he even managed to hit the guy standing behind Dolph. Anyway, these guys demonstrate why convertibles are the ultimate getaway car, and everybody's shooting like fuck at each other, but nobody gets hit. Like, he can't be going more than 5 miles per hour, and Dolph's just stood there with his fucking big head nearly reaching the lampposts. And then they try to mow him down, but he hops over this speeding car like it's a puddle of rainwater on his way to work. The next day, he's having some noodles, and wouldn't you know it, the same criminals come to the same restaurant. And this guy full on threatens to shiv this old woman, so Dolph does the most blasé takedown I've ever seen. Like, he's got a cup of tea in his hand. I can't decide if this is complete bullshit or the best fucking thing anyone has ever done ever. Also, he invents the Superman punch. Anyway, he saves this woman's business by destroying her business. And while this guy is distracted by a bee, Dolph body shots him. Then Brandon Lee just runs in completely the fuck out of nowhere and starts throwing down with him. But these goons are like, this is too fucking awesome, we can't allow this. But they're firing them bullets that take a few seconds to hit you and don't go through IKEA tables. So yeah, the boys are fine. So it turns out these guys are cops, which is somewhat of a disappointment because I preferred it when the movie was just guys randomly trying to kill Dolph Lundgren. And Brandon is like, I'm your new partner and I'm just gonna level with you. I don't really care for you appropriating Japanese culture. But Dolph is like, oh, we're definitely gonna be friends outside of work. Anyway, they go to this all Japanese Los Angeles police precinct and Dolph is eating wasabi nuts because, you know, Japan. And they start the interrogation and Dolph just assumes because this guy's Asian he's automatically Japanese and therefore a member of the Yakuza. But they can't fire him for being a racist because he's right. But the tattoo reminds him of when ninjas killed his parents, so he starts arm wrestling with the guy's neck. Which ain't really fair on Dolph because your neck's bigger than your arm, but you know, that's just the type of guy that he is. But then the Yakuza guy tries to pull his head off and throw it at him like Rayman, but it don't work. Then the sergeant walks in and he isn't remotely bothered that his detectives are in a cameraless room with a dead suspect. Anyway, the Yakuza are about to compress this guy to death. And if it were me about to be changed from a solid to a liquid, I'd probably put more effort into my begging.
Please! I'll give you anything! No, come on!
And just a footnote, I don't think I'd beg in my second language to guys who may or may not speak that as their second language. Later, at this sexy crack party, and they find the body the next day and they're like, the head was cut off with a long, surgically sharp implement of some kind. Oh, you mean like a sword? Don't be fucking ridiculous. The killer clearly used a really big scalpel, put out an APB on all giant men with medical degrees. And Brandon is like, I don't find this at all disturbing. And later on, Dolph is like, how come you don't know nothing about your own culture, man? Well, for a start, my dad was Chinese, not Japanese, you racist prick. Second of all, why don't you tell me who the Prime Minister of Sweden is right now? Fucking exactly. And third of all, none of this really interests me. This is just my job. Then how come you know martial arts? Oh yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense, does it? Then they go to this club. Knock knock, hello. And Dolph is like, you know that girl that got killed? Yeah, I was at the party where it happened. Right, did you see anything weird? Well, it depends what you consider weird. Anyway, Dolph and Brandon start smashing up these guys because, you know, they might be Yakuza. Or tourists, or businessmen having a drink after work. Anyway, they get captured and taken to the boss man, and it's not looking good, but Brandon got so caught up in all those crimes he was committing, he forgot that he was a cop, so he whips out his badge. And Brandon is like, look, I'm not very good at my job, but I don't think you could shoot him just because you're really upset. So Dolph checks his enormous supercomputer brain for data to corroborate what Brandon is saying, and it turns out he's right. Anyway, they drive off, and what the fuck is going on with Dolph here? And he's like, look, when I lived in Japan, I saw a ninja kill my parents. And when I told the police, they were like, look, we just call them burglars here. And Dolph tells Brandon he wants to take the guy down that did it. And Brandon is like,
we're gonna nail this guy. When we get done, we're gonna go eat fish off those naked chicks.
Yeah, that doesn't really sound right to me, but whatever. The next day, they track the Yakuza through Little Tokyo.
You know, this is kind of reverse racism when you think about it.
No, it's just the normal kind. Anyway, they follow him to this factory, and the Yakuza boss is doing a tour, and he's like, oh, welcome to my crystal meth factory, gentlemen. Make sure you don't breathe while you're in here. Okay, how much do you want? 20%? Could you do 15? Anyway, Dolph breaks into this compound by leaping up a few feet to the second-story balcony. Then he shoots this guy without looking while doing a roly-poly. Then he grabs the woman and just walks through this double glazing like it's a curtain of beads. Later, Dolph is like, right, we gotta go arrest him. Wait, I gotta check my shoelaces. Okay, so they start throwing down in this bathhouse, but they figured out that Dolph is a fire-type Pokemon. So the boss gets away. And then these cops are like, oh, run, it's the cops. Anyway, they go and hide out at Dolph's weeb shack. And he's having a nice outdoor heated bath with no visible plumbing. So yeah, presumably he boiled the water in the house, then carried it out bucket by bucket. So yeah, I guess this scene takes place the following night, because that had to have taken him all day. And Dolph is pretty exhausted from heating up all that water on his hob, so he doesn't hear this army of goons descending upon his house. But then he does hear them coming, and Brandon is like, oh, I'm really glad you picked this house with walls and doors made of fucking paper for us to have a gunfight in.
Just in case we get killed, I wanted to tell you, you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
That's in the fucking film. You heard him say it. I didn't make that up. Anyway, instead of just throwing a grenade through one of the many paper windows, they all just run through the same door, one after another, while Dolph throws gardening trowels at them. But Dolph got them from Poundland, and the pack they came in only had like 3 in it, so they capture him. Fast forward to a sexy torture scene. And the boss is like, find out what they know. And the answer is clearly nothing, because they've done zero police work. Like, all this film has been is a series of fights in various Japanese-themed locations. And anyway, they electrocute the fuck out of them, and they love it. And then the boss fucking goes outside to his car to watch what he was already watching anyway, but on this small TV. And then, I shit you not, Dolph breaks free, grabs the guy torturing him, electrocutes him with electricity from his body, and that kills him but not them, and just fucking turns everything off. So obviously all these guys with machine guns run away from the 2 half-naked men tied to bed frames. And the boys give chase, but it's a trap, but they only partially crush the car, and then take it off the crusher with this forklift and put it on this other machine that fucking shreds cars somehow. But Dolph just squats his way out of this crushed car and they escape. And Brandon is like, right, should we go save the girl? And Dolph's like, nah, I'm gonna get a quick workout in first and then offend some more people. And then they burst into the drug factory, and yes, that's the outfit he wears for the entirety of the finale.
We're here!
Let's just fucking hit pause for a moment. Dolph Lundgren is dressed like a samurai, shooting Japanese people with an M16, with Bruce Lee's son running after him as his sidekick. Just fucking take all that in for a moment. Anyway, Brandon is having a tear up with the head goon, and he kicks him off this ledge into this perfectly open vat door, and then he tells him he's under arrest, but then just proceeds to fucking blow him up for no reason. Meanwhile, Dolph chases the Yakuza boss into this samurai parade, giving a flimsy excuse to finish the film with a shirtless sword fight. And he stabs him so hard that the prop glued to his back bends. Then he picks him up and throws him like a dart at this giant bullseye, and then he explodes because fuck it, why not? But Dolph's not happy with that outcome, so he goes straight out to another nightclub and starts tussling with random Japanese men. He has no reason to believe her in the Yakuza, but this time they actually are. Look, we both know you ain't gonna join that new gym, or start reading books, or stop making everybody uncomfortable on the bus. So why not just hit like and subscribe, comment below, and then continue your mindless YouTube journey?